Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel and welcome to 2025. I know that this is my second reading in the new year, or at least my second collective reading. And I'm really excited to be sharing all of this new year energy with all of you here listening. So if you do want kind of a deep dive breakdown of some of the energies that have been wrapping up in 2024, as well as some of what I've sensed coming up in 2025, then I recommend exploring the previous reading that I did after this one. And that reading is titled that you are both the magician and the mirror in 2025. So if that title already connects with you, then there may be something in that reading for you. But in today's video, we're going to get a little bit more specific in some very particular threads of energy that I'm feeling coming through here, because what I've been getting is many people have been having strong realizations about you. And this is no mistake and it's no accident. It's a direct result of so much of what we've been channeling into, where you've undergone this radical spiritual transformation, and that has really begun to reveal you to the world in a stronger way. Your frequency is radiating outward in a way that is making you more perceptible, more visible, more seen by others, whether you are noticing that showing up in a literal sense with things that you are creating and doing, literally being more seen by an audience, or whether this is more symbolic, because this also could be symbolic in the sense that people are sensing you energetically. They are seeing you spiritually in a brand new light. And many of these people seeing you are old energies that are suddenly having realizations about you and seeing you through an entirely different lens. It's almost like they're familiar with you physically, but spiritually, they feel almost as though they are actually seeing you for the first time. So many people from your past are having these wake-up call moments, even if you are in no contact with them. Now, these could be friends, family members, past romantic situations, really dynamics of all kinds. But many people have been suddenly wondering how you are, suddenly having these realizations. I'm getting that realizations that they misunderstood you, that they mistreated you, or that they mischaracterized you in the past. And it's almost like they are suddenly awakening to that truth. And this is fueling some kind of desire to either observe you, to see what you're up to, or even to actually reach out to you. So you may have already begun experiencing some of this happening, where some of these past connections are coming back into your life in some sense, where people are desiring to either reconnect with you or to reach out with you in some way. If you haven't yet seen that happen, then this video might be reaching you, because you could very well be on the brink of that, so to speak. So specifically, I'm just going to move my computer here for a second. You know, it's interesting because I never noticed before that the microphone I'm using creates a glare in the screen of my laptop, but all of a sudden it's like something that once you see it, it really distracts you. But I feel like there's a symbolism in here, because we were just talking about people seeing you in a new light or from a new perspective. And the message I'm getting is, once they see you, they can't unsee you. Once they realize who you are, or rather who you were all along, that they may have mischaracterized or misunderstood, it's like all of a sudden it's all encompassing. They can't unsee it. They can't stop thinking about it. So there is this one specific energy coming up that we have to talk about, and the words guardian angel came out around this person. Now, I don't feel that they are literally an angel for most of you. For some of you, yes, this could be a spiritual energy. It could be whatever you consider to be a spirit guide, an angel, some kind of divine being intervening on your behalf. But for many of you, I'm getting that this is actually a physical person who feels this very protective energy towards you. And this seems to be someone from your past who either, I'm hearing that they always had a softness for you, they always had a love for you, but this seems to be someone that allowed people around them to pull the wool over their eyes, as the saying goes. I think that's the saying. I don't ever really use that saying, which somehow makes it all the more significant that it's coming up here in this reading video. But the thing about this person is there's always been this affection for you that they've had. But what I'm getting very strongly is they held this back for a really long time. And the reason they held this back had a lot to do with how people around them were perceiving them and perceiving them connecting with you. Now, I want to say that I'm actually getting a couple different threads of energy that will most likely relate to different groups of people that I feel will be coming out in this reading. But the thing that any of these threads of energy will have in common is that they all involve individuals who are having these wake-up call realizations, so to speak, where they are realizing that they mischaracterized you or misunderstood something about you, and they are thinking about you a lot because of this realization. I keep picking up something around the heart chakra, and my guides are saying that because of the way in which you often work with futuristic timelines, you are often ahead of your time in many senses of the word. But I'm hearing syncing up, like time is syncing up for you. So interesting. I've not actually gotten this message specifically before because we've talked about how you are ahead of your time in the sense that you are very multidimensional. And as a result of this, you work with many different timelines, past, present, and future. Now, I could do an entire video on how you know that you are working with your past self, your future self, etc. But one way that you can know is you've always felt this almost mystical connection with past versions of yourself and future versions of yourself. Now, this kind of reminds me of being a child, and I used to address future versions of myself when I was young. I remember being on the school bus and thinking things to myself that I wanted future me to remember, which sounds really strange, but the reason I'm feeling guided to share this is because I feel that you've also been doing this in some kind of way, in your own unique way. It might not look exactly like that, but I feel like from a young age, you've had this really strong cognizance, this really strange, almost mystical awareness of future timelines playing themselves out and past timelines as well, almost like having an active, ongoing relationship with these different versions of yourself, because you've always understood at some deep level that time isn't linear, and that in the present moment where all of your power is, you can actually access and work with both past timelines and also future timelines to alter the entire trajectory of your life, but also the planetary collective. And I'm getting some really big messages here for someone, because I'm feeling that this isn't just personal for you. You are actually helping the planetary collective to shift onto a higher vibrational collective timeline through this kind of work that you are doing. So I'm also feeling like this is connecting somehow with a subliminal I've just created for my app that is called Highest Vibrational Timeline. This is one that I knew was going to be powerful because even after just listening to it once, I began to feel these powerful shifts happening within myself, within my own life. And it's almost like this subliminal is designed to help to rearrange you energetically to align with your highest potential available timeline, the highest timeline that is available to you now. And for some reason, I'm just feeling guided to mention that here. So maybe if you do have the Sound and Soulful app, which is my subliminals app, you will feel guided to add this to your playlist. If not, then you might feel guided to check it out. You can start a free trial on my app if you do want to try it out for free for a week and see if this subliminal helps you in this timeline shifting kind of practice. See if it helps you to kind of make that practice even more conscious, and in making it more conscious, to make it even more efficient in a sense. So I will be leaving information on that in the pinned comment and description, even though I don't typically mention my app specifically in these Monday, Wednesday, Friday main readings. The more in-depth readings, usually I only mention it in the other videos, the mini readings. But yeah, I wanted to let you know about that because I feel that subliminal is really relevant for some of you, and I know that many of you do already have the app. So there's something coming up here about how working with past and future versions of yourself is actually aligning your reality. And I'm getting a message not to take any action or to do anything in the present that you can sense is going to not be in alignment with something that you really desire in the future. I know this is a really abstract point, but oftentimes we are tricked into this kind of illusion by society that if we take certain actions or do certain things to really burn ourselves out, to really, in a way, kind of temporarily make ourselves miserable, but for the purpose of some kind of futuristic outcome. This is kind of what many of us tend to buy into, and it's a very common matrix program that actually tends to be first taught to us in particular religions, where in some forms of distorted forms of religion, people can be taught that they are meant to be absolutely miserable their entire lifetime, and that happiness is inaccessible to them, but that it'll be worth it because of the concept of heaven happening after life. Now, of course, on this channel, we talk about the existence of the soul, the continuation of life, eternity, all of those things. But in this kind of rigid interpretation of religion, people are often taught to not pursue their own happiness. They are taught that, in a sense, they are supposed to be miserable to get some kind of futuristic outcome. And it's interesting because many of us do this in our lives in so many small ways. And I feel that many of us are really being guided to evaluate how we are still trying to betray ourselves, betray our well-being, betray our happiness, our highest love in the moment, our highest self-love in the moment, because there is still this program running telling us that doing so is necessary to achieve some kind of goal or to achieve some kind of end. Because what we are really shifting into and helping the collective to shift into here, and I know that you felt this changing as well, is almost the opposite of that dynamic. It's that the frequency, the energy that you cultivate now is what you get futuristically, meaning even if you don't know exactly what that future is going to look like, that kind of so-called heaven, which is maybe some form of heaven on earth for you, even if you don't know exactly what that's going to look like in the moment, you know that as you are cultivating this energy of freedom, of happiness, of self-love, of love for others, that more of that is going to continue to multiply and amplify in your life. And just like if you plant a seed of corn, you expect to get corn in the harvest. When you plant these seeds of good energy in the present now moment, that is what is going to be multiplied and amplified in your life, and ultimately going to come back to you in so many beautiful forms. And in fact, I feel that many of you are actually more so in that harvest phase or on the brink of that, where you've already planted this good energy. You've been out there living in the moments, allowing yourself to really lock in to freedom, to self-love, to happiness. You've been radiating that love, that good energy to others. And by this law of nature that multiplies the seed until it brings a harvest, all of the energy that you've been putting out there is coming back to you multiplied. So that might be a major message for someone in 2025. This reading has been so interesting because I started with a very specific thread of energy and it kind of led us off in a different direction here, but I do want to get back to where we started. Now, I usually say this at the beginning, but if you do want me to channel more specifically for you and your situation, then I do recommend subscribing to the channel, because this is a form of energetic transference and it allows me to pick up more easily on your energy, which allows me to channel more specifically for you, both in this particular reading video and in future reading videos as well. Okay, so let's really focus back in on that person that I said is this familiar energy from someone's past. Now, as I always say, there will be a lot of people and energies and messages coming up here, so only take what's really connecting with you in a personal way. But this person feels very protective towards you. They've always felt a softness and a warmth towards you. But as we said earlier, I feel that this was someone who was convinced, I'm hearing easily convinced by people around them to pull away from you. The word embarrassment is coming out. So I don't know if they're embarrassed about how they behave towards you, or if they were too embarrassed to stand up for themselves in the past and keep you in their life. The word immature is coming up as well. So they may have been very immature. These are the realizations this person seems to be having, by the way. And as I said earlier, this is just one of many people that seems to be having a lot of realizations about you. And I imagine that through these channelings, we will be talking about many different people who have been having a lot of realizations towards you. But with door to spirit and door to personal healing and happiness, my guides are once again bringing up being ahead of your time. So it's almost like, just like you are often ahead of your time in a very wide sense, in a general sense, because you are working with futuristic timelines. I'm hearing you are creating things people want and need before they realize that they want or need them. Sometimes years before, in some cases longer, maybe a decade before for some of you. I'm getting for most of you though, it won't be that long. It's just months or years earlier. You're out here creating things. I'm hearing going viral late. Interesting. So this is making me think about someone who creates online. Maybe this is you, or maybe this is just a metaphor for what you do if it's not online content creation. But it makes me think of someone who creates content that initially doesn't get a lot of views, but then that same exact content goes absolutely viral years later, like that exact video or that exact blog post. And it's almost like when the person is making it, they're thinking, wow, this is profound. This is so inspired. This is going to go viral. And that's you. That's like the energy you're putting into some kind of project, some kind of creation, whether it is online content creation or something else. I have this sense of you inventing something or creating something or putting something out there and thinking, this is going to go viral. But then it doesn't in the moment. And you think that you were wrong or that you failed. But you're being invited to be courageous and to hold the line and to keep creating because you weren't wrong. You were just early. That's a major catchphrase coming through here, because these things you're creating, they are meant to go viral, whether that's literal in terms of online content or in some other sense. They're meant to reach a lot of people. It's just that you're working with futuristic timelines and you are actually creating ahead of your time. So I'm hearing you have to be patient for your audience or your customers to catch up with you. But the beautiful thing is here, it's almost like the things you are creating are products of collective manifestations, things that the collective is manifesting, information, projects, creativity that the collective is manifesting, that again, they may not even know yet that they want or that they are manifesting. You are so far ahead of your time, but I'm hearing not so far ahead of your time that you're not going to be able to enjoy the results from it, just long enough that you're going to have courage to hold the faith and keep creating, knowing that what you're putting out into the world is powerful, is going to have a massive impact. So anyway, I don't know why I felt guided to kind of go back down that rabbit hole with you. I just saw the number 2222 on the recording timer. So that's a major number of alignment, but also could be really specific to someone. Now let's go back to this person that it's funny, every time I try to channel into their energy, my guides step in and bring it back to a personal message. So when it comes to connecting with this person, something about the energy feels very distracted on your end, but not in a negative sense. Distracted because you are so on purpose. You know, as we were transitioning into 2025, the words that have been coming out so strongly in my meditation have been living on purpose, that you are living on purpose. And of course, there's this beautiful double meaning with that phrase, because on the one hand, it can mean living with intention in a very intentional way, but also living on your purpose, living in alignment with a specific goal or purpose or something that you are doing or creating in your life. So what I'm getting is when I say there's a distracting energy here, it's almost like your number one priority is you, your soul mission, which is very important on this planet, these future timelines that you're working with, the things that you're creating, the way that you love yourself. And ironically, that's actually a big part of what's making you so magnetic, because part of magnetism is allowing your projects, your soul identity, what you're doing in the world, what you're creating, to be your number one priority. Most people live the opposite because they are so externally focused on who is validating with them, who is validating them, who is connecting with them in certain ways, who isn't connecting with them. They are very reactive. But the beautiful thing is, you seem to be someone who is living so opposite of that. You are living so responsively rather than reacting to life and the people around you. You cultivate a vibe, you cultivate an energy, you focus on creating your own magical, beautiful world, and you allow people to respond or react to it as they will, you also seem to create a lot of space between your moment of receiving downloads, receiving information, receiving communication, receiving insight, and actually acting on it, because you recognize the value of the space. The value of the pause is what I'm hearing here. The value of that time between receiving something and doing something with it. You know how to sit with something and to feel into it, to sense into it, to compare it to your intuition, which is always guiding you correctly, and to make decisive action from that really clear, self-connected place. That's another thing that seems to make you so magnetic. I'm actually getting this often applies in your communication as well. When someone texts you, when they email you, when you're presented with communication, with an opportunity, you will be someone to receive that information and to kind of let it marinate, to let it sit with you as you allow your intuition to process it, to work through it, and to feed you a response that feels aligned for you in divine timing. You don't allow people or circumstances to rush you. You really move in your own timing. So once again, we are going to attempt to channel back into this person's energy. Now, it does make me think that there's more going on here than you just being really focused on yourself, your path, your spiritual journey. The fact that it keeps coming back to you, well, in that I already heard a message. This person feels like everything keeps pointing back to you. Everything keeps coming back to you. I'm getting so many chills just as I'm channeling this part of the reading, which always tells me that there's a really strong energy coming through. But also, it seems that your spiritual journeys seem to somehow be intertwined. There may be a lot of mirroring I'm hearing in the way that you operate, in the way that you think, in your nature at the deepest core soul level. But the thing is, it seems that you went through a spiritual awakening earlier and faster than this person. I'm hearing the word cataclysmic. So my guides seem to be saying that your awakening felt very disruptive, cataclysmic in a way. It felt like your world was falling apart. It was the Tower card summed up in a life, basically, or the Tower card would be a way to sum up that period of your life. And if this is for you, you know what I'm talking about here. But for this person, their awakening has been much more subtle. So it's also been slower and it happened later than yours. So I'm getting that this person has gone through some kind of recent spiritual awakening. And it's no coincidence that we were talking about them having realizations about you, and now we're describing this awakening, because you'll remember that earlier we talked about the wool being pulled over their eyes. I also keep hearing wolves in sheep's clothing, but then a reverse of that, sheep's in wolves' clothing. And the sense I get from that is you were almost a sheep in wolves' clothing, meaning you were, I'm hearing the sacrificial lamb. Maybe you were a scapegoat of a community, of a family, of this person, like the people around them. Maybe they blamed you for something, scapegoated you. And I feel that you've always had such a pure energy. And at this time that you were scapegoated, I'm hearing you were sacrificed so that they could continue to hide behind an illusion. Now, when I say you were sacrificed, of course, I'm not talking in any kind of literal way whatsoever, but emotionally, I feel like you were blamed or you were cut out from a group, or maybe people's perception of you was radically altered in order to protect a groupthink or a way of thinking or a way of being. Or maybe these people around this person just had to blame you or had to pin something on you or make you out to be a certain way so that they wouldn't have to question the illusion that they were living in. But what I'm seeing now is the wool that was pulled over this person's eyes is being lifted through divine intervention, because it's been time for their soul to awaken, to allow them to become more authentic. This is someone who's been feeling really lost, especially when it comes to their social groups, their friends, people around them, their community, because they've truly felt as though they have no one. And the reason for that is because everyone in their life they connected with from an inauthentic place. And now they are realizing that truth and realizing they have no one to really be themselves with and to discuss their authentic truth with, except you. You are popping back into their mind because they're realizing that you are someone that I'm hearing you would have connected in all times, phases, places, and environments. There may have been certain things about you and this person that were very different culturally, maybe in terms of your background, your upbringing, belief systems. But what I'm getting is this person is realizing beneath all of that, you and them always would have connected on a deeper level, because at the core, you are the same. You have a very similar or identical core soul frequency, depending on whether this is a soulmate or a twin flame. So I'm going to continue this thread of energy on Patreon. If this is connecting and you'd like to go deeper into these messages, you can join our beautiful Patreon soul tribe, where I channel additional pieces of information every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, along with these main collective readings here on YouTube at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So when you join as a Patreon member, you'll get access to my entire library of extended recordings. And as a member, you will have access to future readings as well. So the link to that is in the pinned comment and description box underneath this video. I'm very curious to know in that reading what else this person has to say, what they're thinking, how this awakening has affected them, and anything else that we can pull through there. Also, in the extended reading, we will be channeling into your aura and anyone or anything that might be connecting with it besides this person or dynamic. So again, the link to that is below. But the card that we have here is Arise. And I'm going to go ahead and read from the Rumi Oracle Guidebook. Can you sense before you there is a great being of light, a greater pathway opening up? This is truth, blazing angel. This is truth. Take the step. So easy is it when the light of the heart is felt within, reminding you of your own divine nature. The world is here for you to experience so that you may realize divinity in its majesty, mystery, and love, more so than ever. All serves a sacred purpose, so embrace it. Find your faith. Be at peace. Know that no matter what appears to be, all is well. So I'm going to go ahead and close the reading there. Thank you so much again for tuning in today. I hope you're all having an amazing start to your 2025. I hope I got the year right when I said it earlier. I can't remember if I said it correctly. I guess I'll see when I listen back to this. But I'm personally still adjusting to the new year. I'm so curious to know how you're doing with these new year energies. And if you feel guided to share anything on that, then feel free to write a comment under this video. Also, if you do resonate with my energy, of course, I invite you to subscribe. Join our beautiful community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself. And of course, the link to the extended Patreon reading where I will be heading to next to continue this channeling is under the video. Otherwise, I am wishing you a beautiful remainder of your day, and I will connect with you here again in the next video.